What's up, y'all? Thanks so much for clicking on the video. My name is Leah, and let's recap and review Real Housewives of Atlanta. This is season 16, episode 12. And let me just say this, Greg. Let me just say this. Phaedra is not needed. Why is she here? Why is she here? Okay. Number two, Shamia is always performing for somebody. Okay. For basically for everybody. And number three, Brit is so out of her league, it's not even funny. Not funny, ha ha, funny weird. Cause girl, what was that? I don't think I've ever seen that bad of a an event in a like we haven't seen a bad event when it comes to like Real Housewives in a long time. Some of them have missed the mark, but still have been okay. This right here was just embarrassing. Like embarrassing. Are you not embarrassed? Embarrassing. Girl, that was embarrassing. But let's get into this review. Y'all. So y'all know sometimes before we get into the review, we get a little spicy, just a little bit. And I just got a few things to talk to y'all about. So I did do a standalone spicy corner. If you would like to know my thoughts about Drew's interview with Carlos King, as well as I talked about an interview Angela did with Bossip. And I did do some alumni news. We talked about Peter going to jail, as well as, the unfortunate news that Candy shared with us about Bertha being diagnosed with Alzheimer's. Please check out that video. The link will be in the description box below. So moving on, let's get into a few things. So first up, Ralph and Drew. When I tell you I'm so sick of Ralph and Drew, and I cannot wait until this storyline is over. If they do get picked up for a season 17, which I think will happen, I hope we do not have to see Ralph anymore. I hope Drew moves on and she's no longer like having to talk about this relationship, because both of them together are exhausting, and to me both of them are liars. I know a lot of people like Drew, and that's your thing. I don't really see it for Drew, but I can definitely get a girl her tens, because she has been wrapping up Portia, the newbies, like it's nothing, like collectively grabbing all of them. And I'll give you your tens even if I don't like you, because a read is a read, and if you get somebody, you get somebody. But when Drew does certain things, it lends into the narrative that she is a liar. And a lot of people always say, well, they all lie. Yes, they all lie. And I always call it out. I think Portia's a liar. I know for a fact Phaedra is a liar and Drew's a liar. Just because y'all like Drew and she's likable doesn't mean that her lies, like she's not lying. Like that's the same thing for people who go up for Portia. Portia lies. Her fans know that, but she's likable, so they accept it. Y'all know Drew lies, but y'all like her, so you accept it. I don't like either one of them, so I don't accept it. So that's just what it is. But let's talk about it. So on Memorial Day weekend, I guess, and shouts out to all our service members, because I sometimes get Veterans Day and Memorial Day mixed up, but Memorial Day are for the people who serve, who have since passed. So, shouts out to all of those people. Thank you for your services, okay? Especially to the black ones, okay? We here, okay? But Drew, I guess, was hanging out with Ralph. They were cooking dinner as a family. Ralph decided to hop up online and post a video with this caption. Didn't wear an apron, but she called me daddy in the kitchen off camera. I really do this cooking thing. Happy no drama Memorial Day weekend. Y'all be safe. And I'll attach the video here.
Ralph. Hello, Ralph. What do you call me? Yo, Drew, I made all of this food here. The steak, the hot dogs, the chicken.
Let me taste it. I'm going to sit down and make me a plate.
Oh.
Hey,
Helen. Oh. Hey,
Hi,
grandmama.
Helen.
You Ralph made the steak? Oh, look at this.
Wow, that's so good.
Drew's making the cabbage. Her saute.
Little pepper mix.
We're going to have to table that to see how it tastes.
And this is what frustrates a lot of people when it comes to Drew, because we see you crying on Carlos King and then you're doing this. And Drew likes to shroud it behind well, I'm trying to co-parent. There's ways that you can co-parent where y'all not cooking in the kitchen together. Because to me, cooking is like a bonding type of thing. Like you do that with your family, your friends, and things of that nature. And I wouldn't be doing that with a man who is trying to take my money, okay, who locked me out of the house and who I'm questioning whether if he ever really loved or cared about me. Like we're not doing that together. I'm not being nice to you. I'm not. You could call that immature. You could call that petty. I don't care. But if you're actively trying to hurt me, I'm not doing these types of things with you. So then it does lend to the narrative of like, girl, are y'all really getting a divorce? Is this really real? Or is this like, are you lying about the things that have happened? Is he lying about the things that have happened? Because I think both of them are liars. And that's why I'm just like, I'm exhausted by this storyline. So Drew saw this and said this: we have to co-parent and maintain a good relationship for the sake of our kids. You can co-parent without really being that close to that man. I've seen it being done in my family, okay? It says, from my conversation with my mother, I've been trying to approach things in a better way so the kids feel secure and loved. Obviously, I had no idea this was going to be posted based on how I looked. I thought this was a private, hidden family moment, not something meant for social media. And see, Drew, this is where I'm like, girl, you're not stupid. You know Ralph is a scumbag, girl. You know that. But yet you keep allowing yourself to live in this delusion. And that's why I'd be like, Drew is delusional, where you think you can be on like equal footing with him. You've been on like the past couple, like this whole entire season, you've been talking about how poorly Ralph treats you and how y'all are not in a good place. But then Ralph has evidence to put it out there online that no, she lying. And I'm not saying you lying, but it gives the illusion and the feeling like, girl, you are lying, to where it's like, I really do have to second guess everything that you say. And I don't like that in a housewife, okay? So moving on with Ralph, now he doing interviews, and I don't know who giving Ralph interviews. Stop it. Okay, but Ralph was doing an interview and he said this: Ralph says Drew plays a game on TV. She plays the damsel in distress card. It's a role and a character. She does it so well because she's an actress. And that's how a lot of people feel. Some people feel like this is all an act. And I've told y'all, since Ralph and Drew got on this screen, I ain't really like neither one of them because they give me Tyler Perry plays. Like they're both reading from a script. So it feels like the things that we are seeing are not believable. I also think that's why people struggle to connect with Drew. And I think that's why people like the Carlos King interview, because some people feel like they saw a side of Drew that felt more genuine and authentic, where a lot of people feel like on the show Drew is just playing a character. Because I have watched other reviewers, and y'all know I'm an avid YouTuber, so I watch other people's reviews, and one thing I see in the comments and on those reviews is people being like, we're 3 seasons in or 4 seasons in with Drew, and I feel like I still don't really know her the way I know everybody else. Like a lot of people keep saying the same thing, where they feel like Drew is on a totally different show compared to everybody else. And in a way, it kind of feels that way because people haven't been able to connect to her. Okay. And it doesn't help that Ralph keeps getting on the internet and doing this dumb stuff.
Drew plays a game on TV, though. You know what I'm saying? So she plays a damsel in distress card. And it's amazing for her because, you know, it's a role. It's a character. And she does it so well because she's an actress that everything goes. Like, she can go and be like, she can throw a rock, hide her hand, and then cry about it. That junk is so... For a while, you know, I could never really talk about it. Now I can, of course, because we're going through our situation. But that's the game that she plays, you know what I'm saying? So it works for her.
So is it a gift and a curse being married to an actress?
I wouldn't say it's a... As long as the actress knows when it's time to act and when the cameras are off, you know what I'm saying?
So the cameras are off and she's still in actress mode.
Nah, you know what the crazy thing is when the cameras are off, she's actually back to her normal self.
So it's when the cameras are on.
When them cameras are on, yo, I'd be like, yo, why did you do that? You know what I'm saying? They make me look crazy. You know what I'm saying? She's like, oh, well, that's my inspiration. You know? So it's kind of crazy and it's hard for me to navigate that because I'm not an actress. You know what I'm saying? I'm not an actor.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know how to go and navigate the different things. I'm just who I am. So if you say something crazy to me, or you say something that makes me question it, or something cat, then I'm gonna be like that's not true, and then I'm gonna come at you about it.
So let's move on and talk about Miss Angela Oakley. So Angela hopped on to the internet to let the people know that the people who matter knew about me. Y'all don't matter to Charles. So she posted a throwback picture of her with Jay-Z, Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant, and Carmelo Anthony. And they all look young. Carmelo Anthony looked like he got on a Steve Harvey suit or an Easter Sunday suit. Kyrie Irving, he looks young in this because he doesn't even have like the beard and the hair that he has. Jay-Z looks young because he doesn't have, the locks, which, there's a conspiracy that that's a wig, and I'm starting to believe it, okay? Because I was like, it did feel like one day Jay-Z didn't have any hair, and the next thing you know, boom, man, pow, he got a full head of locks. Did we? No, we did see him in the early stages, but I just feel like I don't know. And then Kevin Durant has always looked the same age to me, okay? But it's a picture, and this is what she captioned it with. When Charles and I got married, he was so excited to introduce me to his friends, the people that actually know him. Be sure to tune into Real Housewives of Atlanta on Bravo TV and tomorrow on Peacock. And that to me, Angela throw good shade, okay? Like, girl, the gag is y'all don't matter. That's why y'all didn't know about me. But the people that do matter knew about me. I said, come on, Angela, come on. And I just want to say this. Black women, please, if you going to get a nose job, go to somebody that knows how to do ethnic features. Like, I used to be an avid watcher of Botched. And shouts out to, is it Paul? Because Terry is Heather Dubrow's husband. Paul, Adrian Malouf's ex-husband, he always fixes the nose job. Watching him and how he explains how you're supposed to do a nose and how certain doctors only know how to do one nose and how you have to go to people that knows how to do noses. I be looking at noses now. He fixed Dwight's nose, the Dwight that was on here, and he fixed New York's nose. And now when you look at them, you can tell that they had a nose job, but their noses now fixed it fits their faces. I think he had to take cartilage like from their ear, and I think maybe a piece of rib when it came to Dwight, because his nose was almost gone. But it's just like the amount of bad nose jobs I have seen, tragic. Y'all got to stop this. Stop the madness, okay? And the final thing I want to talk about is this clip of the after show. So we didn't get Britt's point of view, but we did get Kelly, Shamia's, Angela, Drew's, and Cynthia's point of view of Britt Edie's event. And what they were saying tickled me. So let me play that clip for you guys.
What was that again?
The Country Club Classic.
Is that what we're going to call it?
How do you like my event? They're still setting up, but
It was giving a lot of themes.
I wanted to be Halloween, St. Patrick's Day, Christmas, and Valentine's Day. Today, everything.
But no food.
I'm really upset with how the event planner did it. It was supposed to be cocktails for everybody else, and she set it up as if it was entrees for everybody.
Make them starve.
We had food.
But
Not all the
your
other
guests
guests.
had
The event did not have food, and they were all watching us drooling,
That was
and I felt
very
like I
uncomfortable.
couldn't eat my food.
She didn't have food at that event because had she ate one thing, them seams on that outfit would have popped and taken all of us out.
We wanted to do, like pass the phone for donations to Uber Eats. We tried to be there with her in the moment, but she should have ordered some pieces or something because that was.
I would have.
I would have been quick. I would have put Charles in that kitchen.
Yeah, I think she was very embarrassed by that. I was embarrassed for her.
I don't think that Britt was used to events. I think she's used to like going to parties, but I don't think she's used to handling events.
I actually wear her shaper.
I wore it in one of my videos because I was like, yeah, girl. Did you try yours on?
She gave me a size extra large.
Ooh.
No, she can't give me extra large. That is so shady. And yeah, like I said, I think she got it confused with her toothbrush for that wide ass mouth she got. And that's just that because you're trying to shade me.
Yeah, I think I got an extra large, but I feel like I needed my extra large.
That event, and I'm going to save my commentary for the review, was nothing but a sham and some shenanigans. She should be embarrassed because the secondhand embarrassment that made me cringe so hard, I had to pause the episode because I was like, oh, this is bad. Like, bad. Ooh, girl. But let's get into this review. All right, y'all, so let's get into this episode. So like I said, Phaedra is not needed. Shamia's always performing for somebody. And Britt shows how much of a fan and how out of her league she is when it comes to this group. Which pisses me off even more when it comes to Kenya. Because I'm like, girl, this lady is such an easy read. Like, you could have cleared her. Like, oh, Kenya. Ugh. You could have cleared this lady so easily. Because the performance, that event alone should give her pink slip and her walking papers. That was an embarrassment. Okay, girl. So the episode opens up and we at Shamia's house. We see Kelly is over there. And this is where I started to feel like, yeah, Shamia, you be performing for everybody. Even though I think Kelly and Shamia have a nice relationship, it does seem like they are forming a genuine relationship. It still feels like she's performing for Kelly. Like, it's just like, where is the real Shamia? You know? So Kelly basically tells Shamia, like, I think we need to get away, you know, after everything that's happened between a few people in the group. I think we need to go to the Caribbeans. So Shamia is like guessing all of these different places. I think she said the Maldives, something else. And Kelly was like, girl, I said the Caribbeans. You giving me like dream locations. And so she was like, you know, it's known as the Island of Spice. And then Shamia can't guess it. And she's like, Grenada. And she was like, oh my gosh, I like, yes, I got a couple of people out there in Grenada. Okay. Another thing is Shamia always calling somebody her best friend. You know, she was like, I say, hey, best friend to everybody. Girl, everybody is not your best friend. A best friend should honestly be a title that you give to somebody that is a real live, like, confidant to you. Somebody that you can count on. Like, the people that I call my best friends are really that. There are people that I have shared things that, like, I would not share with people I would just consider like friends or associates. And that's where Shamia gets herself in trouble because, like they said, a friend to everyone is a friend to no one. Or is it a friend to everyone is a friend to none? Either way, when you are a little too mixy, it gives that you can't be trusted. In my opinion, like you can be nice and kind to everybody, but everybody shouldn't just easily get the label of friend, in my opinion. So they're going to Grenada. We actually see them FaceTime the head of tourism, and they did get hit with the storms because, you know, they were really bad, like hurricanes and like tropical storms that hit the Caribbean area. So Shamia was just like, what can we help you guys with? Like, what can we bring? And I think the guy said they need like diabetes medication. They need like toiletries and things of that nature. So I do like the fact that they're going there, but they're going there in the sense of like, you know, we're going to have fun, but we're also going to sow into the community. And I think that is oftentimes what's needed, especially with these areas that are tourist traps. Cause you know, I'm never going to Sandals. I never wanted to go to Sandals. Like have I been to Jamaica? No, I always say I've been to Jamaica, but I've really been to the Bahamas multiple times. No, I have been to Jamaica. That was on a cruise. Yeah. But like, I like on resort time, I've been like on the Bahamas. But a lot of the resorts in these islands are like taking land away from the native people that lived there, and finding out that in Jamaica, the Sandals resort is like privatizing island space where people can't just go to the beach is madness. So if you do go to these countries, try to find hotels that are, you know, locally owned. And if they are not locally owned, at least find out if they are sewing back into the community that they are like, you know, taking land from, you know. So I thought that was nice. As they were sitting there, Kelly talks about how she really needs this trip, how her divorce has been a lot. We find out that it's costing her, or it costed her, because eventually her divorce is about to be finalized, I think the following week. But we see a flashback of her and it looks like they were celebrating her Nana's birthday in the location that they are like renovating, but it's cost her $158,000. I think she has to pay her lawyer that for this back and forth with her ex. And she was like, I think my ex wants my soul at this point. That is crazy. And that's low-key why people don't want to get married. Like, you can see people a lot of times, especially nowadays, just opting in for a long-term partnership, and you can get the medical paperwork or the actual legal paperwork to be like, hey, I can be your what is it called, power of attorney. I can do this for you. Like, you don't have to be legally married to that person, because you have instances like this where people get very nasty in divorces and they normally want to bleed one party dry. And oftentimes it's the man to the woman, but I've seen it done to men as well. Like, people just get really nasty and vindictive. And for her to have 4 kids and have to spend $158,000, it makes sense why she hasn't been able to open up the spot that she has, and why she owes back rent to the other location that her husband allowed, or her ex-husband allowed, to fail on purpose. So Kelly going through a lot right about now. And so Shamia's like, you gonna get past this and we're going to be okay. Like, I'm so excited. We're going to Grenada. We're going to have a good time and have relaxation. The next thing we see is Portia, her mom, Diana, and Lauren go house shopping, or looking at a new house. So they're at this one house, a beautiful home, had a nice backyard, had a beautiful pool. We see her real estate agent, Keisha, and we see the actual person that's listing the house. So they walk in there. It's a huge house. It is 8 bedrooms, 7 baths, and it's $4.2 million that I don't think Portia got. Okay, I don't. I'm just gonna be honest. I don't think she got that type of money. All right, and that's also a lot of house for one person. Like, why do you need, well, 2 people? Why do you need 8 bedrooms? Like, and 7 baths, and it's only you and your daughter. Like, you would be cute with maybe like a 5-bedroom house. You know, she has a room, you have a room. One can be like your glam room. Another one can be like a media room. And then another room is an office. But 8 bedrooms is a lot, okay? And I was like, Portia not buying this house. So they walk through the area, and then we see her sit down with her family. She talks about how, like, it's kind of eerie and kind of weird that she's doing this when just a couple of years ago she was looking for a house with Simon. And they show from Portia Family Matters when her and Simon were looking at the house that I think they actually purchased, that he trying to get her kicked out of. Okay. And she's just talking about how this time things have kind of been different, where she's like, you know, I was smart with this marriage. With Cordell, she was totally buying into being submissive, being everything that her husband wanted her to be. And when I left the marriage, I left with nothing. And, you know, they do her classic where she was like, I will cook and clean his meals, when she gave that speech at the reunion. And then when she was like, you know, for Cordell to allow me to come with you guys, he's really growing. And everyone was like, girl, allow? Okay, girl. All right. And then when he kicked her out the house, and she was like, gonna kick me out the house like I'm some random. He gonna get karma in his bubble. But we've really been through a lot with Portia. Oh my gosh. And so she was like, you know, I'm in a better place, but court still makes her nervous. And so she was like, this time I actually got my ducks in a row and I have a prenup, but yet it's still taking you forever to get this divorce, girl. So she's just like, she's hoping that here soon she'll hear some good news about that situation. But you can tell that this was a fake scene, because I do not see Portia buying this home. So the next couple of scenes we have is with Kelly, her daughter, and the dog getting massages. When I tell you I was annoyed, because I don't mind the dog getting a massage, but it's just like the way Kelly has her dog colored is ugly. It makes the dog look ratty. And I don't think, you can tell that Kelly cares about the dog, but like, girl. And sometimes I hear Rodney the voice's head in my, like his voice in my head, because whenever he does his reviews and Cha-Cha is in the episode, he always brings up how the dog looked malnourished. He was like, the dog always looked hungry. And the thing is as someone who's worked with dogs, the dog is actually at a decent body score. The issue is Cha-Cha is a long-haired Yorkie. So like underneath all that fur, that is normally how their body looks. And because they keep her shaved, and Kelly has her has the groomer do the whole like leopard print pattern on her back, she does look skinny, but she's fine. I just feel like, girl, you have to get a different pattern. Like, let Cha-Cha just be all brown, you know, or maybe all black. I can't do it, girl. I can't do it. Okay, and then the whole lashes with the dog. I know the lashes aren't on the dog's eye, but like in her hair is stupid to me too. Like, why put lashes on the dog anyway? It just make the dog look sickly. I'm sorry, Kelly. We then get this scene of Shamia down at the radio station. I think it's called V103 with Big Tigger, and I think the lady's name is Jazzy McBee, is what I saw on the episode. But in this whole sit down, I was like, oh, Shamia performs. I already felt like she's very performative with Kelly, but in this sit down right here, it was so performative. So they're asking her about her music. They bring up Drew. Shamia like instantly shades Drew, talking about, you know, I speak about my life. She be lying. You know, she's talking about she knows 5 languages. And if you listen to the song, you can clearly hear that the song means the 5 different love languages, not 5 actual like lingual languages, girl. Like what? And even if she did or if she doesn't, like it's a song, so like it's up to like interpretation or poetic. You have like the poetic license to say and whatever. So I was like, Shamia, you sound stupid. Then at the end of the interview, she was like, she's a fake ass bitch. And she did it so like, yeah. And I said, sit down. You look corny. Like Shamia is cringy and corny, and I don't care what none of y'all say. And I was just like, girl, why are you doing all of this? And you should be mad at them for bringing up Drew, and we're supposed to be talking about your song. You talked about your song for maybe 2 minutes, and the next part of the clip that was shown was you talking about Drew. Lame. Okay, then we get this fake scene with Britt, Edie, and her husband, and you can tell that Britt and her husband do not live this lavish lifestyle that they're trying to portray. It gives very much like, this is what I've seen in movies, this is what I've seen in the music videos that I've been a part of. This gives the effect of like, we have money, because them drinking champagne in the morning while in them white coats, because most people who have house coats or robes, they're not white. They're not. Like one of my favorite robes, and I think y'all seen me in it, is black and white. It's like checkerboard. And I used to have a blue robe with the hood on. Like most people have like robes that are colorful. Nobody's just walking around with a white robe unless they at like a hotel. That's like the standard colors at hotels is like a white robe. So I was just like, yeah, this is a fake scene. She talks about being stressed out, how she got Botox in her face, and you know how she's ready to launch her bare naked shapewear line. So she's been working on this shapewear. She says she's been working on it since she's been doing insurance, but like now that her insurance license is on hold. So I was like, so it's so first it was under investigation. Then first you lost it. Then it went to under investigation. Now it's on hold. Girl, what is it? So not only do Britt lie, Drew lie, Portia lie, and Phaedra lie. We got a cast full of liars. Ugh, girl. So I was just kind of like, yeah, this is a fake scene. So she decided to have a country club classic where it's supposed to be a golf party, a launch party, and like a Kentucky Derby party all in one. Mess. That's what it was. And she's inviting everybody. Angela and like her haven't been in a good place, but she feels like this is like an olive branch to her. Speaking of Angela, the next scene we have is of Angela and Charles, and they're at one of her rental properties, okay? Angela, I hope by the end of this season you sell one of them houses, or at least by the time we get to the reunion, you have sold one of them houses. Like, I appreciate the fact that Angela is very transparent about being like $2 million in debt when it comes to flipping these houses, because you know oftentimes the girls don't like to be honest about that, but it's becoming more and more like concerning that you have all these properties that you're paying for and that you're trying to do these renovations to, and nobody's purchasing them. So the house that we see her and Charles in, it's like a 3-bedroom house, and it's like 2.5 baths, and it's over, I think, like 4,200 square feet, but she's asking for $465,000. But when they get into the house, it's not all the way put together. Like, it seems like a nice starter home for a family, but I don't think nobody's willing to pay that much money. That, to me, a 3-bedroom house is definitely given that it should be no more than like maybe $250,000. You know, like a sheet on the window as like a as like curtains. They have the, the paper curtains they put into the houses when they first move in, and then you have to buy the curtains. Those papers are ripped up. There's like a dishwasher in the backyard, and I don't know if it's supposed to go into the house or if they're throwing that away. It's trash around it. She was complaining about there like cracks and stuff there, and it's like, yeah, girl, no ma'am. And so we find out that she spoke to a contractor like a month ago, and the contractor had promised her to have all this stuff taken care of in the span of like, I think like 2 weeks, and it's been a month. And Charles said something that was very true, where he was like, well, girl, he was trying to sell you like on you purchasing his services, and that's what he did because you bought it. But like when you look at the contractor, it's definitely giving a bit of fraud. Like the t-shirt alone told me I don't think he do things in a timely manner. So I was like, I don't know about this, Angela. So she's stressed out because, like I said, the house was listed at $465,000, but with all of these issues and them waiting so long, they've had to slash it back to what she originally purchased the house for, which was, I think it was like $338,000. So she's stressed out because she's in debt. You know, she then starts talking about her mom to Charles, where she was like, she apologizes to Charles about how hard she's been on her about her mom, because I guess after having that conversation with her mom, she realizes that what Charles has been saying about her mom is true. I guess maybe they spoke about the way the argument went down. She didn't believe Charles, but then the mom confirmed that she walked up on Charles and she was like, she had just had it with him and they got into it. Angela also admits that after her and Charles got into a fight, she was so worked up that she called her mom and just let the floodgates open. So her mom felt comfortable coming at Charles that way. So Charles was like, we don't even have to go back that way. Like, go revisit the past. I'm fine. She apologizes to him. They hug each other. She also talks about how she is disheartened and a little like offended at the fact that her mom moved out of the house that her and her sister purchased for her. And I think the house was like 400. I think she said she spent 490. I think it was like $490,000, her and her sister, to buy the house for the mom, and then now she let it go. But like I said in my last review, and a lot of people have been saying, Angela, her daughter, and Charles definitely give the type of people that will throw it in your face that they did something for you or that they purchased something for you. Your daughter alone thinking that she could just go to your mother's house, her grandmother's house, and just take the car without asking, or without even respecting the grandmother's wishes of not taking her car, and her being like, the car my mother bought for you, it gives that you feel entitled to people and the things that you give them. So I understand the mom being like, girl, I'm good. And I didn't blame her. So she then starts talking about Britt and how her and Britt aren't in a good place, and how, you know, they've said some pretty like mean things to each other. You know, her saying that she had mouths on her mouth, and Britt saying that no one even knew you were Charles Oakley's wife. Okay, your husband doesn't even claim you. And she's just kind of like, her and Britt have said some things to each other, but hopefully her going to the country club, things were going to be smoothed over. Charles was like, girl, I'm with you for whatever. Like, if we got to get active, we can get active. And Angela was like, as long as like 1980 Charles doesn't come out, we good. Because I've read some things about Charles. Charles used to be disrespectful. I mean, he's still disrespectful, but in the 80s, he was on one. Okay. So let's talk about Britt Eadie's Country Club Classic. Girl, a hot ghetto mess. It was Hot Mess Express. I said, girl, you just outed yourself and proved that like you're a fan. Like the same way I felt about Drew and Ralph when they first debuted is how I feel about Britt, but worse. Like, I feel like Drew to me is slowly coming into like her own on this show, where I'm like, okay, you're having a great season right about now. Like I said in the beginning of the video, girl, you wrapping these newbies up. So I'm not really on you too bad. But Britt, girl, you need to be a one season wonder, but I don't think it's going to happen because of what Kenya did. I think she's going to be back. But like, girl, a joke. Like, she's such a joke. Like, she is doing what she thinks, like I said, what she thinks is what is like of money, of wealth, of status. And her outfit to the country club, a fool. It was too tight. You could tell that like if she were to like bend down, something was going to rip. That's not very affluent of her. Kelly looked a mess in that all white outfit. I was like, why is it so short? And why is your hat so big? Ugly. I know because the thing about Kelly is I feel like Kelly wants to make statements with the fashion that she wears. When I look at the outfits that she has worn on the reunion, but on Watch What Happens Live and things, you can tell that she wants to show that she is into like elevated pieces. It's just that like she needs to find something that works. So I can slightly give Kelly a pass, but that outfit was a fool. Shamia is a label whore. Like, she thinks because it got Balenciaga on it, it's an outfit. Why do you have on a blazer dress going to like a country club classic or a like where the theme is technically like a garden party / Kentucky Derby / golfing event? Like, girl, none of this gives any of the things that I just named. It doesn't give country club. Girl, it's maybe if you was going to the BET Awards, you would eat it up. But this ain't it. This ain't it. Then you got Drew and Angela. Their dresses were too tight. You could tell that they were like club dresses, and they just purchased a hat off of Amazon. It was like, it's giving tea party. It's giving country club. Nah, it's giving we're going to the club after this. You know, and I didn't like it. Then Cynthia looking like she going to somebody's disco or to the Renaissance concert. Renaissance. But not the country club. The only person's outfit that actually looked really nice to me was Portia's. It was a nice dress. It was the right length. She had the right shoes on. The hat was cute. The ensemble was ensembling. Okay. And I said, girl, what is this? What is this? So we get to the place. Her and her husband are there. Mind you, her husband looked better than her. And I'm like, girl, why didn't you just match his vibes? You got on polka dots. He got on purple and tan. Or cream. Mess. So they walk in. We see her personal assistant, Ruben. He's telling her, you know, we get things set up. Mind you, I'm like, when it comes to throwing events, you should be set up at least an hour in advance before anybody gets there. Sometimes maybe an hour and 30 or 2 hours in advance. We still see people putting up her bare naked like section where she's gonna have, like, I guess prototypes of her shapewear line. They're still setting up tables. Even if the producers are asking her in the confessional, what does the derby have to do with shapewear? She was like, really nothing, but that's okay. And I was like, no, it's not. If it's a launch party, they're supposed to be like, you're supposed to have things that coincide with the event. Like if it's a launch party, I should be like, she should have had this like at a bra store, like Lane Bryant, or like something similar to like Victoria's Secrets, where people go and buy shapewear. Like there should have been like, you could have, on perfect example, the way that Portia had her Pamper by Portia thing set up, she could have done the same thing at the same event space or something similar, and they decked it out as like a boudoir, you know? Like it could have been like a lady's like closet. Like, you know what would have been perfect? Married to Medicines. I can't remember what reunion it was, but their backdrop was like a girl's, like one of the ladies' closets, because it was like Heavenly and Toya were going back and forth about who had the best closet. And then the men's their like segment, they were in a men's closet. And then she could have had the shapewear on like mannequins, or had girls there to model things off for her instead of a stupid PowerPoint slideshow. I said, girl, no vision. No vision, okay? And so she's like, it's okay, it doesn't have to go. And I was like, it does have to go, because this is a launch party, dodo bird. So she then walks outside and she's disappointed because out in like, I guess it's like an area where you can sit and like just chill out. They don't have anything set up. There's not a bar set up for the people to get drinks or get food or anything like that. Like it's just bare. And so she's frustrated because the person who's the event planner was supposed to have all of that set up before everyone got there. So then we see Kelly pull up. She got this beautiful bouquet for Britt. And Britt is stressed out. Kelly is like, it's going to be okay. She was like, girl, I'm about to freak out. Then you see Shamil pull up. So those two ladies were on time. And she's like, you know, I'm glad you guys here. Are y'all excited? Shamil looks around and she's like, where is everything? When I tell you the month of May is Maying right now, this happened in my last video I posted where my microphone all of a sudden stopped wanting to work with my iPad. But we're here, so let's keep going. So like I said, Shamia and Kelly pull up to the party first. And they're like, okay, girl, what we doing? Because they don't see anything being put together. They're trying to calm Britt's nerves because she's actually upset that nothing is together. And so she's like, let's go play golf, because that is what was also, I guess, something like another activity or one of the main activities for people coming to the event. But I'm like, so you have them playing golf. It's supposed to be a country club classic, also a derby. I was like, Britt, this is not making sense. And you're all over the place. Plus, this is also supposed to be a launch party. So we see them go and play golf. Mind you, the people that go to that country club on the regular are looking around, looking at these women like, I thought y'all said they weren't allowed in here. because one of them ladies was looking at them while they was on the golf carts, like, what are they doing? So they get on the greens. Mind you, Kelly and Shamia's heels are sinking into the grass because they have very skinny heels, whereas Britt's, her heel is like more of a platform heel. So they're trying to hit, but also sinking into the ground. Kelly keeps knocking up a clump of like green, and I said, girl, stop. Y'all like, stop it, okay? So then we see Portia pull up. Portia pulls up and she sits down at this table with this lady, I think by the name of Paris. Paris is like looking at her. She's looking at Paris and she's like, do you know like what Britt is launching? Because I heard this was a launch party as well. And Paris is like, oh, I think it's a makeup line because it's called Bare Naked. And I did see people have comparisons to Kim K's Skims, but I think the difference is Kim knows how to market her products. Like when you think of Skims, I think of shapewear, but I think of a variety of colored shapewear. That's where Kim was smart, and she tapped into a market that was very lacking for a lot of people, where she has shapewear that fits many different skin tones, more so dark skinned people. I mean, I don't know if I would consider myself dark skinned, but I'm brown. You know, most like shapewear is either black, which is not my skin color, or it's hella tan, or white, which is not my skin color. So I need something in the middle. All right. So in the confessional, they basically tell Portia, like, what do you think about Bare Naked? Because it's similar to Go Naked. And Portia was like, put some respect on my name, because my business has been out for 10 years. And I'll give Portia that. Put some respect on her name, because I don't even think Brit has an actual website where you can go and purchase these garments. Like, during the editing process, I'll look it up to see, and I'll put it on the screen if she does, but I don't think she does, because I didn't see anybody like reference it. I didn't see anything online of her saying like, oh, the website is available. So I'm just like, at least Portia's business is off the ground and it's been running for 10 years, you know? So they see each other. Everyone's still outside. They greet one another. Kelly shares with Portia, like, oh, girl, we were playing golf. And she was like, in that outfit? And she was like, yeah, girl. She's like, oh, no. So then Drew gets there. We have these awkward exchanges between Angela and Britt where they hug each other awkwardly. Same with Drew and Portia. And Drew is like, you know, I thought I was going to see Bare Naked, you know, bears, but we gonna support the ladies even if we don't know what they really are doing, okay? And so they get into the space where they're supposed to be eating, and Britt is supposed to be showcasing her Bare Naked like garments and things of that nature. The ladies are sitting down at this like long table. Everybody else is sitting around them. Things get very awkward and uncomfortable because we find out that the women are the only ones who are getting served plated food. Everybody else is getting served nothing except drinks. And Britt is like in this off to the side with her husband, her assistant, and I think another assistant or worker that's like, yeah, well, she decided to bring out those tables because they said that like they were needed. And Britt is like, no, it was supposed to be standing room only, and just the ladies and I were supposed to be sitting down and eating. Girl, where did you learn to host? Because my thing is like, this could have happened and it wouldn't have been such like a faux pas if the women were in a different room. And clearly there seems to be more rooms in the country club. So you could have had a plated dinner with the ladies in a separate room, and then the other room could have been the cocktail hour where you had people walking around giving out hors d'oeuvres. But you didn't do that. So now you got a bunch of people like irritated because they're hungry and they're watching y'all eat food. Like, I would have left because I'd have been like, girl, I'm hungry. This is boring. I don't really care what you got going on. I'm about to leave and hit up whatever restaurant is around here to give me some food and something to drink, because don't have me out here in my good clean clothes and you not feeding me. And you could tell people were irritated and getting annoyed. And Britt was embarrassed because she was like, I hate how this is coming off. And I was like, well, girl, that's your fault. So then she comes to the table and tells them that, and Portia tells Shamia is gagged. Shamia's like, and Portia says she feels bad for Britt because in Atlanta, they will talk about you. If you don't have no food, girl, you getting talked about like a dog. And I would have talked about Britt like a dog, because what you mean you ain't got no food here, okay? So then Britt gets up and she starts to like talk about Bare Naked, saying how she wanted to like give all the ladies samples, and she only had enough boxes for the ladies, the cast, but you're doing all of this in front of your guests. So not only do you not have food, it doesn't even look like you got good drinks. You're also giving out gifts, and it's only dedicated to the people that are on the show with you, not the friends and family that you invited. Yeah, girl, I would have definitely left after that because I feel disrespected. And when Shamia was like, when you open the box, there's nothing in there other than the outfit. And she was like, it's very bare naked. And I was with Shamia, like, you don't have no presentation. Like, if I was her, the box would have been black with white lettering, and then on the inside it would have been like, the fuzzy one, the paper stuff, or wrapped really nicely with like a what's it called, with like a sticker with bare naked in like the image, or the logo. I couldn't think of it about it, the logo on top of the paper, and then you would have to rip it open, and then maybe I might put lotion in there, because you want to feel nice and luxurious when you putting on your undergarments. Lotion, maybe a little canister, or like a cute little wine thermos or whatever you call it. But it's like you put the bare minimum in it, just like you put the bare minimum in this event. So the shade starts early on, because Angela is noticing when she opens up her shapewear box that it's an extra large in there, and she was like, girl, I do not wear an extra large, but okay, girl, I see you, Britt. Even Portia was like, that is shady. And Britt is like, well, if you need to change it out, I'm happy to change it. And then Angela's like, she needed for that big ass mouth she got. I said, oh my gosh. So they're all sitting there, and then Portia ends up asking Britt, so why did you decide to do this shapewear line? And she's like, when I got my BBL done, I thought the garments that they gave me were ugly. And I think it's called a faja that you have to sit in after you get your things done. And she was just like, I just feel like we deserve to look beautiful. You should be able to wear it every day, like shapewear, and feel beautiful. And then she brings up how, like, when she started her insurance company, everybody that was a part of the company, she took them down to Miami to all get like surgery. And I'm like, how many people were working for you? Because taking like a decent amount of people down to Miami to get plastic surgery is like a very pricey fee. And Britt, you don't look like you got it. You don't, unless that was scamming money. Okay, unless that was some scamming money. Because I'm like, girl, what? Okay. So then the energy shifts, and like we see Britt's husband leaves the table, and then Britt decides to move down in front of Angela and Charles. So then next thing you know, you hear Angela say, and I just want to go on record, my husband doesn't have a side, baby. Everybody at the table said, Angela, what? Everyone's looking around. Charles was like, Angela. And I started giggling because I said, girl, this is Angela. Why? How did we transition the conversation to this, girl? So then Britt responds by saying, and I'm not one of Charles's whores. And it was Portia. When Portia said, like, Portia was so said, oh my gosh, what is happening at this table? What is happening at this table? So then Charles is like, I don't have whores. And so, I think Angela was trying to explain to Charles that they've both been going back and forth. They do the flashback when Angela said, you got mouths on your mouth, and called Britt a whore. And Britt is like, oh, I'm just playing. Because then you hear Portia say, who said that? Who said you was one of Charles's whores? And Britt was like, well, I'm just playing. Like, Angela called me a whore, so that's what I was just saying. It was just so awkward. So then we see Angela and Britt kind of dead their whole little situation. So then Drew and Britt get into it, because Drew is like, thank you for inviting me. I know me and you have like a little rough energy between us, but I would love to talk to you about it. And so they show a flashback to Portia's Pamper with Portia party or whatever. And we see a back and forth between Britt and Drew, where Britt is like, I heard you had some issues with me, Brittany, and I'm just trying to understand where you're coming from. And Britt was like, well, I can explain it to you. And then Kelly chimes in, and she was like, well, y'all should have a conversation, but you should be honest, you should tell the truth. And Kelly says in her confessional, all I know about Drew is that she be lying. And so they bring up the whole Michael Jordan situation, where some people feel like everyone's harping too harshly onto that. And I feel both ways about this. One, you could definitely take it as a joke. The other end is like, would Drew ever call it a joke if she wasn't called out about it? I think because people are so used to Drew not really telling the full extent of the truth or lying, you question if she's being funny or not. And that's her fault for setting herself up for that. So, everyone's like, yeah, Drew's a liar. So then you see Drew and Angela having a conversation on the side where Drew is like, will the real Kelly stand up? Because every time it's something. So then Angela lets it be known that Drew and Kelly got into it at at her son's birthday party. And basically Kelly and Drew were just arguing about, like, are you really who you say you are? So Drew ends up telling Kelly, like, girl, once you get to know me, you'll know, like, get to know me and then you can judge whether or not I'm a liar or not. So she shut Kelly down at the table. Then Shamia jumps in and she was like, well, I have an issue with you calling me a lapdog. That was pretty harsh. And Drew basically tells Shamia, well, I have a problem with you going back to Portia and twisting my words around to stay in her good graces. I consider that pretty much lapdog behavior. And they start arguing back and forth. And then Angela ends up letting it be known that, like, what Drew said wasn't in a malicious way. Like, she was just being funny, It wasn't nothing harsh. So next thing you know, so Drew and her start arguing back and forth. And you got Shamia. Shamia just starts barking. I was like, girl, you look stupid. I told y'all, always performing. Like, you look so dumb. She was like, arf, arf. She was like, I'm not about to talk to you about this. You calling me a lapdog and you can't even apologize. And Drew somewhat apologized, where she was just kind of like, girl, I'm sorry you felt that way, but what you did is why I called you that. Like, it is what it is. But my thing about it is, Shamia and Portia say things to people, and then when they get their feelings hurt, they're always like, well, that's really harsh. Well, don't say harsh things to other people, and you wouldn't be getting that back to you. And so she was like, I think someone said act your age, and Drew was like, I think Shamia said, is that in dog years or something like that? It was dumb. You hear Drew say on the side, like, I'm not an animal whisperer. I don't speak to animals. And it was just dumb. It was dumb. Shamia looked stupid. Drew wrapped Shamia up, because at the end of the day, girl, you did go back to Portia and somewhat twist what Drew said, even though Drew said it. And I do think Drew was being shady. I don't think she was being malicious, but she said it. And you did say it to be in Portia's good graces because y'all are friends to a certain extent. But, like, it does give that type of behavior at times. And then you always do this thing where you commit too hard to the bit. Last time we got pictures of you sitting on Portia's lap with your tongue out like a dog. Now you're making dog sounds. You look stupid, Shamia. Stop it. Okay. So everybody leaves the party because this is it. Britt tries to, like, gain some control, but, like, she looks stupid talking about, y'all can take this outside. Girl, shut up. Don't nobody want to be here at this bootleg event. So the next scene we see is of Drew signing a record deal. She actually calls Dennis to get some understanding about the whole Portia situation, saying that, like, you were trying to sleep with him for record time or like studio time. And he was like, don't listen to her. Like, studio time ain't free. Don't listen to her. But we actually see her sign the deal, and I guess it paid off for Drew because she did release an album. Hopefully we get another album from her, and this is a successful thing for her. The last scene we get is Phaedra. Girl, Phaedra's not needed. Phaedra pulls up. They give us a montage. Phaedra talks about how she regrets the last time she left us. Well, girl, you shouldn't have did what you did.
Drug me and take me to a sex dungeon.
Do you hear this lie?
She's the one who told me that Candy said that.
You said that?
So now we know.
Okay. Her and Portia, they having a kiki session. It's a lot of there's a lot of that going on. Them laughing. Basically, Phaedra calls Britt a whore that got wifed up. She likes Kelly because she's small. Her and Shamia in her good place. She thought Drew was a lesbian, and she's happy to be a part of this show and happy to be going to Grenada. We see the girls. Portia actually called Kelly and Shamia and asked if Phaedra can be a part of the Grenada trip, and they said yes. And so she's excited. Honestly, Phaedra always wanted to be back on Real Housewives of Atlanta. And I think anybody, if they do a reality TV, would want to be on Bravo. I know if I ever did reality TV, I don't think I would want to be on Real Housewives, but I would want to be a part of a Bravo show. That's a good check. And it seems that most people who do Bravo shows are able to transition or find other opportunities. They're either to transition off the show and find other hosting gigs or help with their music or be in TV shows. But it's like the Bravo platform is grand and you're afforded a lot of opportunities. So you can definitely tell that she wanted to be a part of Atlanta because Atlanta is where Phaedra got her start, and it is what it is. She back. I don't know why she back. I don't think she's really going to give us anything, but it is what it is. And that was the end of the episode. So as always, remember to be bravely authentic. Definitely hop down in them comments below and subscribe. And I'm out, y'all. Deuces.